The bar outside Camp Pendleton was the kind of place Marines went when they wanted noise loud enough to drown out memory. Neon lights buzzed, country music mixed with classic rock, and the smell of beer clung to everything like a second skin. Corporal Jake Rourke sat with his squad around a scarred wooden table, boots hooked around the legs, sleeves rolled high to show forearms marked by sun and old scars. They had just come back from a long training rotation. Nothing classified, nothing heroic, just months of sand, sweat, and repetition. Jake was relaxed in the way only exhaustion could make you, loose shoulders, half smile, eyes scanning the room out of habit. That was when he noticed her. She didn't fit. She sat alone at the far end of the bar, nursing a soda instead of a beer. Plain clothes, jeans, a gray hoodie, hair pulled back in a low ponytail. No makeup that Jake could see. No flashy jewelry. She looked like someone waiting for a ride, or someone killing time between shifts. Not a Marine's type of mystery. Or so he thought. "Yo, Rourke," Lance Corporal Miles nudged him. "You staring, are you gonna go say hi?" Jake smirked. "Relax, I'm just observing." Miles followed his gaze and chuckled. "She looks like a schoolteacher who wandered into the wrong bar. Or a librarian," another Marine added. Jake grinned, drained the last of his beer, and stood. "Watch and learn." He walked over with the casual confidence Marines perfected, shoulders back, steps measured, expression easy. When he reached the bar, he leaned against it a respectful distance from her. "Hey," he said. "Long day." She turned her head slowly. Her eyes were dark, steady, and sharper than he expected. "Not unfriendly, just alert." "You could say that," she replied. Her voice was calm, too calm. Jake nodded toward her glass. "Soda in a place like this? That's either discipline or regret." "Neither," she said, "just preference." He chuckled. "Fair enough. I'm Jake." She didn't offer her name. An awkward pause settled in, but Jake pushed through it, the way he always did. "So," he said, gesturing toward the crowded room, "you military? Or just surrounded by us tonight?" She glanced around briefly, then back at him. "Surrounded." Jake smiled. "Good answer. You got a call sign?" She blinked once. "A what?" He shrugged. "Call sign. Nickname. Everyone's got one. Mine's Rook." She tilted her head slightly, studying him. For a moment, Jake wondered if he'd bored her. Then she said, "Black Mamba." The word hit him like a physical blow. Jake froze. Not figuratively, literally. His smile vanished. His shoulders tightened. His mind, trained through years of threat recognition and after-action briefings, flipped into overdrive. Black Mamba. There were only a handful of people who carried that call sign. Fewer still outside classified circles. And none of them were simple women, drinking soda alone in a Marine bar. Jake swallowed. "That's funny," he said carefully. "You a basketball fan?" She didn't smile. "No." The air between them changed. It thickened, heavy with something unspoken. She met his gaze head-on, unblinking. "You asked for a call sign," she said. "That's mine." Jake's pulse spiked. Memories flashed. Whispered briefings, redacted slides, instructors lowering their voices when certain names came up. Black Mamba was a ghost. A woman attached to joint operations so classified that even most special operations guys only heard fragments. Surgical missions. Zero footprint. Always in and out before anyone knew she'd been there. And here she was. Or someone who knew the name well enough to use it without flinching. Jake forced a laugh. "Okay, let me guess. That's from a video game." Her eyes softened, just slightly. "No." He glanced back toward his table. His squad was laughing, unaware. He turned back to her. "Look," he said quietly, "if that's a joke, it's not a common one." "I know," she replied. Another pause. Jake lowered his voice. "Where did you hear that name?" She took a sip of her soda, unhurried. "Same place you did." "That did it." Jake straightened. "I'm sorry if I offended you." "You didn't," she said. "You assumed." He nodded. "Yeah, guess I did." She set her glass down and finally smiled. Not warm, not cruel, just knowing. "Relax, Corporal Rourke," she said. "If I were a problem, you wouldn't know it." A chill ran down his spine. "How do you know my rank?" She shrugged. "Your posture, your boots, the way you scanned the exits when you walked in." She paused. "And your friend over there with the bad knee? He favors his left leg." Jake exhaled slowly. "Who are you?" he asked. She studied him for a long moment, as if weighing something. "Someone who used to wear a uniform," she said. "Someone who doesn't anymore. Special operations, sometimes. CIA." She smiled again. Sometimes. Jake let out a quiet laugh, more nerves than humor. You're enjoying this. A little. He shook his head. I thought you were just, ordinary. She finished. Yeah. She leaned closer, her voice low enough that only he could hear. The most dangerous people usually are. Jake had no response to that. They stood there in silence, the noise of the bar fading into the background. Finally, she straightened and picked up her jacket. Don't worry, she said. Your secret's safe. So is mine. You're leaving. Yes. She took a step, then stopped. For what it's worth, she added, you handled it better than most. Most what? Most men who realized they misjudged me. She walked toward the door, blending into the crowd as easily as she'd appeared. Jake stood there long after she was gone. When he returned to the table, Miles raised an eyebrow. So, what was her deal? Jake picked up his beer, hands steady again. She had a call sign, he said. Miles grinned. Oh yeah, what was it? Jake took a slow sip. Black Mamba. The laughter around the table died instantly. Silence spread like a ripple. Miles frowned. You serious? Jake nodded. One of the older Marines leaned back, face unreadable. That's not funny. I know, Jake said quietly. They sat there, each lost in their own thoughts. Somewhere out there, a woman who looked ordinary walked away into the night, carrying a name that made trained warriors freeze, and a past no one in that bar would ever fully understand. And Jake Rourke would never again assume that power announced itself loudly. Sometimes, it ordered soda.